Okay, looks like we're live. All right, 1 p.m. Let's get this rolling. I'm excited for this one. Uh, Basically, everything I do all day, every day is research, study, learn, improve on my offer, my delivery to clients. And what I really, truly love understanding is just the human mind and human psychology. So, this is going to be exciting. I really like to show my whole process, how it worked and how I've done it. So, we'll jump right in. But first, this live stream is brought to you by Forge, the West Michigan community. Thank you so much, Adam Sheeran, for sending this down. Appreciate the sponsorship. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we're going to roll into the most commonly searched questions by athletes. Here we go. Okay, so number one, how do we figure this out? Right. So, first of all, Gemini is a product of Google that allows you to check YouTube videos, search through YouTube videos, understand a little bit more detail about them, and um, you can ask it simple questions like, "What are people searching?" So, through a little trial and error, I was able to find a way to back test some of the top channels and find the most commonly viewed and searched videos on those channels in terms of athlete mental performance and mindset. So, after the big setup, it all came down to really five main questions, and we'll go through each one. So, number one, and it's actually not necessarily in any particular order, but it is more or less all equally important, I guess you could say. So, number one, why am I better in practice than in games? Hmm, interesting question. Okay. So I'm going to break through it and say that, first of all, number one, obviously, athletes feel a significant level of comfort in practice. Sometimes mom and dad aren't there watching. And, it just becomes a whole scenario that your brain has been conditioned and wired to tell you that games and performance has a little bit more meaning. So I like visuals. I it helps me learn, it helps me see it, but this is a pressure gauge. Okay, very simple. And pressure, I was reading Coach Andrew Simpson's book last night on the 100 things every young athlete should know. And he described it perfectly as well, that pressure is not a real thing. Like, how do you feel or see or look at pressure? And you can't. It's all in your mind, it's all mental. So, why do we let it affect our performance? And all that's happened is that your brain has conditioned itself and tied itself to understanding that, hey, there's some kind of perceived expectation of pressure that I'm going through that I need to get rid of. So the simple solution to this is identifying, what do you think the worst possible outcome could be from your games and performance, of people watching, of things going on, coach seeing you, and then back test and reverse engineer that to, okay, how can I simulate practice to be just as difficult or stressful as the actual game? Plain and simple. Tom Brady, my one of my personal favorite athletes, he bought the Birmingham City Blues Football Club. So when he went over there, he had to change the culture, he had to get everybody back to where they wanted to be in terms of an elite club. And he told the coach straight up, he said, Belichick made practices so much more difficult than games. He said, if it was a beautiful day outside, the balls were going to be wet. He used like these different, old footballs that were difficult to throw. And then they would do these drills that would, basically reflect the way that they were, protecting ball security. And it worked. I mean, 7 Super Bowls later, or six with Belichick, but 7 Super Bowls later, it actually worked. So, um, plain and simple, the pressure gauge, you've got to either A, turn the pressure up in practice, or B, eliminate pressure from your vocabulary and leave it onto the field. see the big picture. All right. So there's question one. Question two. How do I stop overthinking during games? This is an interesting one. Okay. So, first of all, what is overthinking? Okay. It's second guessing yourself, it's letting one thought hurt you, mess you up, and then that spirals into more thoughts. Okay. More negativity. So, when you start thinking in overthinking in games, you allow yourself, if you look at your mind in two different scenarios, right? You have, system A that allows you to just play. It's the way that you brush your teeth and walk and talk every day, you just do it. You just go. But system B, the second part, system two, that's the part that overthinks and starts analyzing things, right? So when you start to focus more on that second system of being, an overthinker, as people would say, then unfortunately that leads to lack of performance and you start to forget some of the muscle memory, right? So as a former quarterback, if I started thinking about throwing motion and footwork in the game, I'm done. There's no way that I can compete at a high level playing quarterback when the highest commitment that I have to have is being aware and present every single play. So what's the answer? An anchor. Okay. Something, somehow, some way, somewhere that brings you back into where you're at right now. Okay. So what do we like to describe this as? Words, cues, reminders, physical, combination of both. You tell yourself an actual word that brings you back, but also you have some kind of physical reminder, a clap. There was one I saw yesterday about the rubber band pull and tap to bring yourself back to where you're at. And this ultimately just makes you recenter and say, hey, win, WIN, what's important now? Focus on this moment, be where my feet are, be in what's in my control is my focus right now in this situation, right? So if you want to stop overthinking in games or competition, have an anchor and be able to identify when that's about to happen, when the overthinking starts. What's that first trigger that triggers you to do this? Make sense? All right. Question 3. How do I get my confidence back after a bad play or a bad game? Interesting one there too. Okay, so here's the problem. The confidence part, if you play once a week or you have a competition once a week, you should be building that confidence on the other 6, relentlessly building confidence on the other 6. I have a picture of a bank. I like to think of this as a bank. And yes, of course, this is a random photo from Midjourney, but it puts it in perspective. Okay. When you actually sit down and think about a bank, you mostly what should happen or what you hope that would happen was you put your money in, it grows, you make deposits, and when you take it out, it gives you more money. Okay. You're investing. So I like to call it the confidence bank, where every single day, what are you doing to make little deposits into the confidence bank? Is it visualization? Is it writing down your 3 wins? Is it evidence logs? Is it something that will build that confidence before the competition ever even happens? Okay. Because if you make one bad play, boom, your brain will automatically go to that subconscious belief in yourself, which is the confidence bank, pull from it and say, wait, time out. You're not defined by one bad play. You do this stuff. You do this all the time. You're good at what you do. Okay. Very simple. All right. So a bad game. Okay. It's the big picture, right? These guys, I love the quote from Aaron Rodgers. Of course, I'm a football guy, so I'm going to use football references, but Aaron Rodgers, I think the Packers were like 1-2 or 1-3 after, a good playoff run the year before. And the reporters are saying, is this the end of Green Bay? What's happening? What's going on? And Aaron famously gets up to the microphone and says, relax. Because Aaron knew as an elite competitor, he knew the big picture, right? It's a long season. So what ended up happening? They got on a streak. They went into the playoffs and everything was fine. Okay. I think he might have won MVP that year. I can't remember. But this is the part where you have to tell yourself, what am I doing every single day to build that confidence bank, to build it up properly, to build it the way that I want to? So when I have a bad play, which will happen, nobody's perfect. Nobody goes throughout their career without having slumps. And when you have that bad game, it's not if, it's when you do that, how will you pull from that bank and build your confidence back up? So confidence bank, definitely critical for all athletes. All right, question 4, moving along. Why am I so inconsistent? Okay. Inconsistent. Well, number one, the consistent athletes are the ones who dominate, plain and simple. They don't let the setbacks hold them back from being who they want to be or what they want to do. Okay. The consistent athletes are the ones that are achieving greatness and performing beyond their potential. There's no days off. Of course, there's days that are tougher to get out of bed than before, but they tell themselves, look, I may not have a 10 out of 10 day for the next 30 days, but I'll make sure that I have 8 to 7 or 8 out of 10 every day for the next 30 days, no doubt. So when athletes are asking, why is my performance so inconsistent? Well, what are you doing on a consistent basis to start with? And that's why I have a notebook here, because an old notebook for some reason, but what's your routine? What is your daily non-negotiable habits that help you become the athlete you know you want to become? And when I used to teach this in high school, I would say, okay, let's talk about habits, right? So, what are some habits? Some would say, I have a habit of, eating healthy Monday through Thursday, or I have a habit of waking up and going for a walk. I'd say, that's awesome. And then my next question would be, do you do this habit on your birthday or Christmas? And they say, of course not. I said, well, that to us, that's not a habit. That's not a routine. That's just something you do sometimes and occasionally. When we talk about habits in terms of elite athletes and performing at a high level and being the athlete that nobody wants to compete against, we're talking about the people who show up every day and have a routine built in right now. It's non-negotiable, right? You're not going to feel like getting up. You're not going to feel like getting after it that day. But at the same time, who cares? You're living to a standard of who you want to be as an athlete. So when you think about being inconsistent, something in your week or your day or your month is also inconsistent. So my remedy right away, right off the bat to think is having a simple daily non-negotiable routine. Okay. What are you going to do every single day to start your day? What I've learned and seen from the best of the best, they wake up and start their day with their why. They have it next to their toothbrush, next to their mirror, next to their bed, their phone alarm, and it reminds them first thing they do when they wake up why you do what you do. Okay. Very important. Midday, there is some type of reset. There's a time where there's a dopamine detox. The phone goes down, they go for a walk, they get their reading in, do some deep breathing, some exercises, non-sleep deep rest, something during the day to help them reset and attack the afternoon and evening. And the evening to me is the most important part. What are you going to do in the evening to optimize your sleep and to prepare yourself for the next day? So, first of all, you should already be recording your wins as a simple routine, 3 wins from the day. Phone screens are off within an hour of the time that you want to close your eyes for the rest of the night. And then next, you should have your next day planned out. What are my top priorities for tomorrow that have to get done? And what is something else I'm hoping to get done tomorrow? Very simple, right? So when the routines and habits are consistent, the performance will start to be more consistent as well. That's a good one. Okay, question 5. Question 5, the last one. How do I get more playing time or win my position battle? Whew, that's a big one. Okay, I'm a Louisiana guy, so I'm not an LSU alum or grad, but I am a fan of Joe Burrow. Okay, And he made it very easy to become one of his fans because of his story. He was the hometown hero in Ohio. So, what does the hometown hero of Ohio do? He goes to Ohio State. Guess what? Didn't work out. Didn't get the nod, was seeing himself falling down the depth chart, but knew his worth. It wasn't so much that he wasn't getting his work done, he just figured out that it wasn't a fit and he needed to make a change. So Joe transfers to LSU and it was okay. Everybody watched him and he was good, a good LSU quarterback, but something just changed drastically. And the famous hit that everyone talks about was we were playing Southern Georgia, and the linebacker just obliterated him and stood over him. And I think there was even rumors that he might have spit on Joe Burrow. And now it became a meme that this guy essentially, with this one hit, and they threw a flag. Joe's on the ground gasping for air. With this one hit, he essentially woke up a monster that would never be stopped again in college football. And that was the start of the legacy of Joe Burrow in the 2019 season, being arguably one of the best college football teams ever. Imagine that for a second. So where am I going with this? How does Joe Burrow and this all reflect you getting more playing time or winning a position battle? If you look right here at this picture of Joe, he is embodying every single sense or definition of the word aura. Okay. Aura became popular because of TikToks, but actual aura, okay, real aura as an athlete and as an elite performer is that person, that guy, that girl that walks into the room and everybody knows who they are and say, oh my, what are we going to do now? And Joe just embodies every bit of aura. Okay, so my problem with asking about how I get more playing time and win my position battle is if you're not confident in yourself, then nobody else is going to be confident in you. The coach will always play the person that he trusts the most. Okay, as a coach and football coach, I can tell you right now, there were so many people and so many times where athletes were more talented than another, but we couldn't trust them all the way on the field. So if we got, if you looked at the breakdown we'd have of games and you'd say, okay, this guy, clearly the better athlete, clearly, looks the part, acts the part, but his average accuracy and consistency score is 77%, whereas the guy who's a little bit less athletic shows up every day, does all the right things, works in the classroom, has an average, accuracy performance score of 88%, it's a wrap. We're playing the guy majority of the time with the 88%. So to win more playing time and to win your position battle is you have to have undeniable belief in yourself. Undeniable. Nothing is going to stop you. You're doing all the things mentioned in the first 5 questions. Okay. You have a sense of awareness and you make sure practice is more difficult than games. You don't overthink because you have the next play mentality. You have a confidence bank. You're thinking about all those wins, right? So when I work with these college athletes, I tell them, do you realize what you've done up to this point, how incredible it is to be a Division I athlete or whatever division they're at? Most of the time when I give this talk, they're Division I athletes. And I say, do you realize what you've done? You've set yourself apart and become a collegiate athlete. That is a huge win. And there's obviously a lot of things that have happened to get you to this point. So when you do that, you start thinking, okay, yeah, I have won before. So the confidence bank starts to build. Okay. And then the consistency, they're doing the same thing every day. Look, it's boring. It is super, super boring to be consistent in the same routine every single day, same wake time, same sleep time. But what do you want? What do you want? Okay. There's a fine line between average and above average. And then from above average is to dominant and consistent, right? So these 4 combined put you into the position of question 5 to to exert aura, as we like to say. All right. So when you establish yourself with aura, and my good friend David Smell, longtime professional tennis coach, talks about your locker room power, then you give the coach no reason to ever take you out once they put you in. Let's just leave it at that. And that's the first thing Doug Flutie told Drew Brees when he got to San Diego. He said, Drew, I'll just tell you now, don't ever let your backup see the field because it's out of your control once that happens. And sure enough, Flutie got hurt. Drew's onto the field. Drew becomes the guy. Drew gets hurt. Drew starts, wavering in his ability, and the whole breakdown of San Diego. Phillip Rivers gets drafted. Once he's in, it's a wrap. And then, of course, luckily, Drew came to us in Louisiana, and the rest is history. Hall of Famer. So let's go into the quick answers. All right. So what do you do in a moment or when you're in a bind and tell yourself, okay, how do I get out of this slump right now? What's my answer? It's very simple. You go to grantchasson.com, you go to Fearless 20, and then you go download my free 20 mental drills for college athletes. Okay. Here it is in all of its glory. Mental drills for college athletes. What does this actually do or mean? People say, like, what do I do with this? Very simple. Hear me out. Okay. Number one, if you have any trouble at all, I give you a free strategy call to just hop on a call and see if I can help you with it. No sales, nothing that we need to figure out in terms of, like pressuring you to do anything. Like, just book a call and let's talk. And then I have like a copy of my, as a bonus, what a perfect day would look like for your daily checklist. By no means is this exactly what you should do. It's just through the research, through what I study, through what I've learned. This is probably your best way to set up your day. At least use that framework and see what works and what doesn't. So here's a cool thing. Here are the 20 drills. It's very simple. It tells you exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it. And you can read through them all and start incorporating one each day. But I made it even easier for you than this. So I built an AI coach to coach you through it. So now you really have no excuse not to be able to use this. So simply you click this link for the AI coach and let me share this tab. It simply just takes you to this custom GPT. All right. Like everybody's doing now. And because this is 2026, this is where we're at with it. And say, I can't stop getting nervous before we already talked about games. So let's say practice. You're trying to earn the playing time, right? I can't stop getting nervous before practice. I am scared I'll lose my spot. Help. Okay. And right away, this is all trained directly onto the actual guide, right? So number one, it's going to tell you, hey, look, we need to start doing some box breathing right now. Okay. Go through it. Just calm down. Try the box breathing. Allow yourself to relax and then have your cue ready. Okay. Then you say, wait, I don't have a cue. No problem. Okay, let's fix that. The drill is the cue word. All right, something that you need to use to help you understand your anchor, where you need to be right now to bring you back. Okay, for me, for example, like one of the hardest things that I do it often is cold plunge. Okay, I have one at my house. There's one at the fitness center that I go to. And look, my cue word that brings me back is Lucy, Benjamin, and Anna. That's my 3 kids. So, I come up with some creative things in my mind to help me, but I say, look, Lucy, Ben, and Anna need me to do this. They want me to do this. Boop, I go right into the water. Okay. It's still horrible, but at least it brings me back for a second to get over that hump, to be back where I need to be. Okay. So it just talks you through it, plain and simple. It just gives you a foundation to go from where you need to be, from where you are to where you need to be. Okay, let me go back to the Fearless tab. All right, so it comes with an AI coach, and then it literally takes you through all these. What I would do is there's only 20, like just learn 2 or 3 a day and just say, okay, these 20 here, if I can learn what these things are, I'm going to be ahead of 99% of the people that are kind of average or above average. Like this is what's going to set me apart from where I'm at and to where I want to be, right? So um that's my free gift to everyone. I built it. It's fun. I love this. This is what I do. So there we're at. But of course, if you ever want to take it even further, all right, I give you the tools here, but at the same time, you can always reach out, see if we would be a good fit to work together. There's me with a little artificial intelligence enhancement. I don't know. I think it kind of looks like me. And I train the Fearless Athletes. I've used the branding of Fearless Athletes with Grant Chessel Mental Performance. I am a mental performance coach. I've worked with Ben Newman, Brian Kane, two of the best in the business. And basically, I work with Division One athletes and people that want to take their game to another level. So if you're interested in doing that, you can reach out, or I'm sure somehow, some way, I'll have a link to book a call with me or to view my um, I guess, sales page and network to get you started. So very simple, or just go to grantchasslaw.com. Either way you want to do that. So this was really cool. I hope this helped anybody who's learning how to navigate this mental game and to continue to be fearless and build their game. So this is really awesome, and looking forward to continue doing this and getting after it on Substack and the live stream. So thank you very much, and we'll talk soon.